Well, so we have to begin our conversation, and we're discussing the subject of electricity supply and the way now it's been rushing to us without any communication being given to us as consumers. It's a concern, not only for us as consumers, but also those who tend to do policy and do think tank work. Kojo is here. Kojo has to begin the conversation.
Yes, indeed, and you're right. We haven't been given any indication of any sort of timetable to help us manage the situation, but there is a situation. The situation is that we don't have a regular supply of electricity to homes and offices. So we keep hearing why we don't have a regular supply, but not so much about when that supply will be cut off, when it will come back. We had a bit of that from PDS when they told us that they had some maintenance work to do. But you will notice that there have been two notices from PDS. One of them for certain areas and then another for other areas in Accra. You have to ask yourself, are these the only areas in Ghana that are getting maintenance done by PDS? Certainly not. So why have they been the only areas that have seen notices? You know, so a number of things have come up that I think we ought to talk about. In a moment, we'll bring up all of the reasons we've heard for power cuts in recent times. But first, I think we need to start a conversation. And we're joined on the phone by an energy analyst, Mr. Kojo Poku, a friend of the show. Mr. Poku, it's good to speak to you. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
We're very well, and we're very happy to hear from you. Except that, once again, it's because we have an unfortunate conversation to have, and it's about the supply has been unstable, erratic, intermittent, yet government insists that we don't have a problem on our hands, and that it is just an epic series of unfortunate coincidences that have led us here. What's your own analysis of the situation that we're facing?
Well, I think every problem starts with unfortunate coincidences, and that is how problems come about. If I would take you and your listeners back to sometime around 2011, when things saw, as we know, we got to know it, took its head in the country. What happened was that it started with events. One thing, it started off with an anchor hitting the Western Gas Pipeline, then second incident, one technical problem here, one technical problem there. But eventually, what we Ghanaians will tend to experience is that we do not have dependable power. In the last couple of weeks, some of us who are analysts in the industry have said that, look, looking at the infrastructure that was put in place, the installed capacity that we have in the country, it will be difficult for us to go back to the situation of 2012, 2013, thereabout. But events of the last couple of days has also gotten some of us to change our mind. It seems that it is possible for us to go back to the era where parts of the country will not be having light for a certain number of days or hours. Meaning that there are distresses in the system, be it financial or be it technical. Those are causes of the problem. But the problem, nobody now in Ghana, within the government, outside government, cannot deny the fact that we have challenges. And the challenges, the immediate solution is to find an holistic view of how to approach it. Keep saying to ourselves that we do not have it. We cannot now prefer solutions for the problem. Because if you live like an ostrich, then it means that you go around thinking that all is well. Let me give you an example. We are doing something around 2,200 megawatts in the evening, and sometimes even on weekends. The generation that we're able to put together is about 2,200. We really need about 2,500, then you need about 15% margin. So let's say we need about 2,700 to be safe. We are not being able to master the 2,700 within the country because of what the government is calling the challenges. It means that the backup generation that we thought was there is not there. It might be there as an installed, but technically unavailable. So those are some of the challenges that for us, we think that is going to basically rear its ugly head in the coming weeks. And if we are not careful, it will run into the coming months.
Now, I've got to ask you, I mean, if this is your analysis, and I have a feeling many other analysts will share your view there, but I've got to ask you, if that is the truth, does this mean that all this time that we've been hearing from the government that we have far beyond our installed capacity, we are even exporting power to our neighbors, all this time that we've been hearing this, they've actually either not had a clue what they're talking about, or they've been telling us lies?
You heard the part of the submission I made. Even I have made the assertion that we had over 1,000 installed capacity, and the installed capacity we have now is far more than what we had back then, so we are far from doing so. But there are challenges, and you see that is why the government or the minister will now come out and talk about the challenges. But be it challenges or not, there are challenges that now makes you not have enough power for the country. So for some of us, we are thinking that, okay, if we are running something like 2,000 megawatts, and we know that we have 1,000 installed capacity, and we can call on them in terms of maybe TICO will have one machine off, TAPCO will be off. But for what is happening now, we realize that in terms of emergency, where there are challenges in generation, Akosombo is running 900 during the day, which is not healthy. Because if you are running Akosombo during the day for like 24 hours, what we are doing now is that we have healthy water in Akosombo. But if you keep running Akosombo at full capacity for a longer period, you are draining the water. Okay? So yes, we are counting on Akosombo to come on a lot of time, meaning that the various thermals that we have their individual challenges. Asogli doesn't have gas from Nigeria, so Asogli is running light crude. They are not going to run full capacity because light crude is expensive, so Asogli is running diminished capacity. ASCA is running diminished capacity because HFO is what they are using, and maybe they don't have enough finances because they are owned by DCG, so they don't have enough money to buy full fuel, so they are probably running half capacity. Then you go to the Takrady area. TAPCO has issues because the machines, due to maintenance, and some of them are not working. Then TICO has one or two challenges with one or two machines, so they are running half capacity. And Mary is the only one that is running full. So you realize that with all that you have Senate, Sen Power is yet to come on. So though, yes, you talk of, yes, we have installed capacity, but technically, are they available when you need them? And we've come to realize that those capacities that we think are installed are not available when we need them, and that is the challenge that we are going through now.
Right, Mr. Poku.
It's a problem now, but the ministry and the government should understand that it is the same problem that took us into doing so from 2011, and they should sit up and look at it and grab the bull by the horn now before it escalates.
Mr. Poku, how about plants like T3, which for years, in spite of the fact that we've spent the money to set it up and install it, nothing has ever come out of it. We've never used it for anything, and all this time it's been sitting there. That is not an unexpected occurrence. That's something that we've been aware of and we've just not dealt with till now.
You see, the issue with T3 is also with how efficient it is when it's being run. And sometimes if you have other efficient systems to run, you would want to run your less efficient machine. But in times like this, I'm sure in the evening when GRICO is calling on all generations, you look at all your available powers and see if you can run or get something from T3 to supplement what we have. Like I said, what we are looking at is dire.
That's not happening, by the way. Just to be clear, it's not. They are not getting anything from T3. It's still sitting there.
Because, like I said, you would calculate installed capacity that you have T3. But then when you need to call on it, you realize that there are technical challenges that will not allow you to call on T3. So
right.
Yes, though you have it installed, it's not available. So that's what I'm saying, that for some of us, the analysis that we're making in weeks, that look, don't worry, we are far from doing so because we have installed capacity. We are now having to analyze it and say, look, in the last few 5, 6, 7 days, we are having challenges where we are not able to ramp up to the full 2,500 that we need in peak. And even when we are running 2,200, 2,300, half of the country, Kumasi mostly, is in darkness. And for me, it's where you now start to now analyze what is actually happening. That as a country, our demand has grown, and yes, we have the machines like you mentioned, T3, but technically they are not available due to one reason or the other. You will have to contact the area for the reasons why T3 is not working. But
right.
So I'm just saying that there's a need now for the government to change their approach that, oh, we are far from doing so, and admit that the technical challenges and the financial in part also is causing us to be in a situation that if we are not careful, it will spiral out of control. Because there are some maintenance scheduled ahead. There are the movement of car power from Tema to Takrade. There is the tie-in of the reverse flow pipeline at Abuazi to come. And all these events will now cause you that some of your thermal plants are not going to be on. Now, if as a country, you are trying to achieve 2,400 at peak, and 900 of it comes from Akosombo. If you take 900 out of 2,400, you're left to find thermal that will run you 1,500 megawatts. If Asobe is running light crude because there's no gas coming from Nigeria, he's not going to run full capacity. So getting to 1,000 now becomes a bit difficult. So thermals also have their own challenges due to one maintenance here or one maintenance there. So only when we can now know we have a problem,
right,
call everybody on the table and have a master plan on how to Ministry of Finance is also playing a role with some documents that some of us have gotten to see in the past couple of, and we are studying it. And as time goes on, we will come to basically make our position clear on some of the activities and buildings in the Ministry of Finance that some of us are not happy with.
Right. I mean, I accept that you're studying the document, but can you sort of tell us the general thrust of what this document addresses?
Well, it is in regards to PDS coming into the system. And this has been a tussle between PDS and when the concessionaire is between the concessionaire, leader, and PURC, and who has the right to set tariffs.
Right.
And from the assumption of PDS has submitted some tariffs to Ministry of Finance, and from the documents we are seeing, Ministry of Finance seems to have accepted the tariffs of PDS without consulting PURC. And those are that's a development that's coming up that some of us are studying. But like I said, at the right time, we'll be able to come out and make these pronouncements.
Now, you mentioned that there's the finances are also a part of this. How big a part? I mean, the debt in the energy sector, how big a contributor is it to our current situation?
Well, it's huge. Finance is huge because if you owe these IPPs, they are not going to go out on limb and buy huge fuel to run full capacity. They will run, but they will probably run half capacity. Some of the old debt, which is the legacy debt, which the ESLA was to take care of, bear in mind because of the PG not doing so well and our returns on what we borrowed on the ESLA have not really been great. We've not been able to go back into the market to take more money on ESLA. That ESLA bond was we only went and got it once. Going forward, government now is being challenged to find money to be able to pay this indebtedness that they have ring-fenced from PDS, which they have now said, look, PDS is getting a clean slate. All the indebtedness we ring-fenced it with the support agreement that they gave to the concessionaire. And as one government that is finding money for multifaceted project is now having to also find money for indebtedness to basically pay these these generators. Now, those are the debts that are there. Now, going forward, you now have issues where I don't know if you saw a letter from Brico last week where they issued a letter saying that because of some processes that's going on or reform going on, they will not be able to pay their workers on time as at March.
Yeah.
And we thought that was a bit worrying, and that was what led to us going to probe further. Some of us in civil society looking further into what is actually going on. And we, like I said, we've now come on documents suggesting that money that are due to ECG and Brico are being held by PDS from instructions from Ministry of Finance. And that is not a good, healthy situation for a sector that is already indebted. And it looks like we are not putting the right measures in place. We are going to pile on the debt, and it can collapse this economy greatly.
Right.
We are calling on government, we are calling on Ministry of Finance, we are calling on Ministry of Energy to let's resolve this problem immediately because it's dire. I would say that.
Right, Mr. Poku, what you've just added is perhaps a new detail, a bit different from what you mentioned earlier, that as part of this arrangement between PDS and the Ministry of Finance, where they are seeking to have some control over the tariffs, as part of that, money that should go to ECG and Gridco is being held by PDS, and that has been instructed by the Ministry of Finance?
Well, it's not instructed. It's more of an agreement that was reached, and that comes out from the letter that Gridco put out, that they have not been able to receive money, and as a result, their March salary will be delayed, and that letter was circulating last week. I thought it was fake news. I called to confirm from my sources, and I was told that that letter is not fake news. It's real, and that's, like I said, between last week Thursday and I think throughout the weekend, there was hectic negotiations and discussions among the parties, PULC being involved, Ministry of Finance, and the parties to now resolve this information that I gave earlier. But like I said, it's a developing story, and we really want to give the space to basically understand exactly what's going on, what the powers that be are agreeing to and not agreeing to. And when we have the full picture, we'll be able to educate you guys.
Right. So in the documents that you have seen, what are the figures involved here? I mean, how much money is PDS holding on to?
It doesn't have figures. That's the problem. The documents we have does not have figures. It's just basically a sort of an agreement, and based on, you see, if you remember, the likes of ASEP and myself, with, I think, Pamgantua, we approached Parliament, when they were about to pass the concessionaire agreement, when Honorable Jakon, then Minister of Energy, was taking the agreement to Parliament. Some of us did an analysis with the help of ASEP, did an analysis of the support agreement and what we thought was wrong with what the minister was presenting to Parliament, the subcommittee, the Energy and Mines subcommittee. We met with the head of the committee, the chairman of the committee. We met with him in Parliament House in his office, and we made documentation, and we had some reservations that, look, these are some of the things we've observed. Okay, that if you guys do not address it and you guys do not pull PDS or the ministry up on these things, it's going to have consequences going forward. Look, because of that, the first time I attended this committee hearing was that PDS, when the minister submitted this thing to, and I went there, and I was hoping that from the briefing that we have given to the parliamentary subcommittee, the chairman for that matter, and we circulated some to the ranking members, we were expecting them to be able to pull them up on it and ask these detailed questions to get clarification on how we can address them. They did not even mention the documents we submitted to them. Okay, they went through the hearing and as if we have not even made any representation to them. And those are some of the issues that are coming out now. that is now, in the long run, it is staring us in our face and is devastating. So, like I said, we don't have figures. We are probing to see if we can get figures to know what the real situation is going to be. But like I said, it's a developing issue that we are looking at.
Right, and this is all based on a document that you've cited. Is it sort of a leaked document or a document from official? Is it a leaked document or is it a document from official sources?
I would call it a leaked document. I don't know what a leaked document is. In this day of information technology, I don't know what a leaked document is. If there is a letter written from Ministry of Finance to PULC and there is a letter, there's an agreement, a letter agreement, which is signed between public institutions and some of us who are in the civil society having to have a copy and see what is going on. I don't think I'll call it a leaked document. But for now, like I said, it's not a straight document. We've been able to ascertain that much. But more or less, like I said, there's been marathon meetings in the last 5 days on the same topic. So we want to give ourselves this week to basically see what is going to happen. Okay, so to clarify, what you have is a letter from Finance to PURC and an agreement between Finance and PDS? No, an agreement between GRIDCO, ECG, and PDS. Right, okay. And where does Finance come in? You see, Finance is Ghana. Yeah, and you see, you're trying to probe to get a lot more. Let us get the full the digest of the situation, and maybe Wednesday we can talk again on this program, and I will be able to figure out. Finance is playing the role of Ghana, because whenever Ghana there is the support agreement that was given to the concessionaire, and Ghana in that support agreement is basically represented by the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance is representing the government to basically smoothing or regularize some part of the agreement that was supposed to have been put in place before the concessionaire took over. Right. And like I said, I can appreciate your thirst for some of these information, but let us give ourselves maybe Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday. Maybe by then you would have even been able to get more information than I have. So let's give ourselves maybe Wednesday, Thursday, and we can get ourselves acquainted with information. So from your analysis, this is pretty much how the last very long and arduous and stressful period of Doomsor began, with coincidences like this. So your admonition is that... Don't call them coincidence. It's just a mixed bag of technical issues. Yes, but if they are not related to each other, if they all happen by happenstance, then that is a coincidence. I mean, the cutting of a pylon... Yeah, I mean, yeah. So what you're saying is that it is circumstances like this that led to the last Doomsor. So your call on government is for them to take some action. But your analysis also suggests that we're likely to have a lot more of this, not less, in the coming days. Yes, because like I said, there are scheduled events in the coming weeks and months. Let me give you an example. You are supposed to move car power from Tema to Takrady. Car power is doing over 400 megawatts. So in the interim, when you are moving car power from, let's say it takes a week for the ship to move, you will have car power not being available within that week that you are moving the ship. So you have to find that generation from somewhere. Like I said, as we speak now, in the night, our peak, we are expected to be able to reach about 2,500 and have a 15% margin. So let's say we expect to have 2,700 every evening available. But we are able to do 2,400, sorry, 2,200. And you are going to take, in the coming week or coming month, there will be a day that the government will have to say, okay, look, I'm moving car power. So you're going to take over 400 of your generation out of the system. You need to compensate it somehow. And from the existing combination, it will be difficult. Right. Now, you are going to now tie in, you're going to do a tie-in, the reverse flow, which is the gas that supplies the Western Enclave, which is the Takrady Enclave. You will need to now tie in the pipeline you're doing for the reverse flow. At a day or at a point, you're going to shut down your Ghana Gas Plant, which is in Aboise, to now do this engineering work. These are things that are scheduled. At that point, gas will not also flow to the Takrady Enclave. So you will need to also compensate for that with some generation elsewhere. So because of these scheduled programs, it is going to compound the problem which exists now. Because as it is now, we have about 300 megawatt shortfall here and there.
Right.
We are not able to meet that in the evening. And that's I'm saying that the ministry and the government needs to sit and look at it going forward. That, look, what is my 4 months from now? And until we tackle that problem now, and we keep saying, oh, it's a challenge, and we tackle it week by week. Every week you're going to have, and bear in mind, there's also going to be localized problems. The minute you start switching on and off these electricity, you now develop transformer problems in some localized areas. So it is something that can dog you and you'll be chasing your tail for some time. And like I said, if we have read our mind back to 2011, August, thereabout, that is how this whole thing started. And it now means that who do you fall on? You fall on Mother Akosombo. You are now running Akosombo at full all the time. You drain the water in Akosombo. If the rains are not kind to you and replenish the flow, then Akosombo will also now start having challenges where you cannot count on 100% anymore. That's where the challenges now start coming in.
Mr. Poku, I want to thank you very much for your adroit analysis. We appreciate it very much. And until the next time. Well, it would appear that there are dark times ahead, Roland.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, and what a way for us to also do the transition as we come into the studio, because we need to broaden the conversation and do some introspection. And we have Pakwisi Anamwa Sakyi. He's the Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security. We told you that he will be in, and he's here. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Roland. Good morning to you.
Good morning. It's good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
And if we do a broader analysis of the context in which we find ourselves, in retrospect, could we have foreseen this coming?
Sure. We knew it would come, and come with some challenges. I heard Kojo talking about we getting zero flow of gas from Atuabo in the coming days, and that's going to bring us problem. Already there's zero flow from Atuabo since Saturday, because we have to tie in the Ghana gas pipeline to that of the West Africa gas pipeline, so that we can have gas flow from the Western Corridor to the Eastern Corridor. On Saturday, they shut down. Atuabo shut down. So we don't have any gas coming from Ghana to the Western Enclave. And so we have to depend on some liquid fuel and some amount of gas from Nigeria, which is woefully inadequate. And so this is one major reason for which we have the current situation. And so they knew that anytime they shut down Atuabo, which was doing more than a substantial amount of gas as compared to where we're getting from Nigeria. Today, what we have from Nigeria is just around 40 million scarf. But Atuabo could have done about 100 million thereabout. And so they knew it will come. And for that reason, arrangement was made for us to have some liquid fuels, because some of the plants in the Western Corridor also runs on both liquid fuel and gas. And so this is what we have. Currently, they have some amount of liquid fuel, and so T2 and T1 are running, but not full blast. And what happened was, because for many years they've relied on natural gas, changing over to the liquid fuel became a problem for them. So there were some other leakages. And so we had...
It's a problem for the machines? For
the machines. Okay. So we anticipated that when we are going to do a changeover from one system to the other, because it's, machineries, this is not 100% efficient in whatever form. So it's likely to come.
Now, from 2012 to 2014, I mean, we're at full blast darkness, okay? But with a shadow. Well, now, if you take an analysis of what has transpired in Ghana over the last 18 years, okay, we seem to be intermittently within a cycle of 8 years, 10 years back where we are. And it looks like from 2005 to 2008, we didn't foresee 2012 till now as a country by way of strategy and policy. Why is it that, or when we got out of it after after 2016, half year 2016, we perhaps as a country we didn't plan medium, long term.
It's a question of planning and setting our priorities right as a country. That has brought us here. And we will see the situation recurring if we continue to go on the same tandem. We knew very well that we will have enough gas from the Western Enclave, that we're going to produce more gas. How prepared were we to, evacuate this gas? And so in 2015, 2016, we knew very well that we should plan and tie in our gas line to that of the West Africa gas pipeline. And so there were plans. We knew very well that car power should be moved from Tema to Takoradi because the gas is in abundance in Takoradi or the Western Enclave. We didn't do. We delayed all the situation.
Did we have the plans?
There were plans on the
So when
the
did
table.
we not start doing the takeoff or the implementation of the plan?
Right from 2016, we should have done it. It's not just after 2016. Right from 2016, it was on the board that we should do it. Now, they only have to negotiate with WAPCO how much they will charge for transmission because we are going to tie in our line to theirs. And for that reason, we need to pay transmission fee, some form of. This agreement, I am sure that if we sat down early and conclude, we would have done it by now. So from 2017, we should have finished this conclusion or agreeing on the fee. Then we do the tie-in. But we delayed all this process. Today, we still have car power sitting in Tema. Amanda is working on the platform for them now. We should have done it a long time ago. So it's a question of our priorities, a question of planning. That's where we find ourselves today as a country.
I want to ask you something, and this is a question that is seeking a fact. It is not political in any way, so let's not look at it that way. We got a new government in 2017, and this new government said to us that the power problem has been solved by them. Now, they didn't, install any new capacity as far as I'm aware. They didn't build any new plants. They said that they have simply managed the situation better, and so we will not have Dumso again. We now have Dumso. So my question is, and by the way, this thing where we try to make Dumso a technical term, as if certain factors have to be existent before we can call it Dumso. If I don't have steady source of power, it's Dumso.
Sure.
So we now have this problem. And my question is, when they said they have solved it, what could they possibly have meant? What is it that they actually did? And has it backfired? Why are we back here if the problem was solved?
It's easy to say this thing when you want to achieve political gains. It's easy for you to do that for both political divide. They do all this. And I remember from 2015, 2014, anytime we have issue, Dumso issue, it's always a technical issue. But we knew it's a financial issue. Illiquidity is a major issue in this sector. You need to lubricate your system. And what lubricates the entire power system is cash flow. Right from generation, we have problem of liquidity. To transmission, we have challenges, and to distribution. Today, ECG, or we call the PDS today, they owe the independent power producers to the tune of close to $1 billion. Are you saying that there will be
$1 billion?
Yes.
Yes, of course. It's Ghana cedis or dollar, close to that. Are you saying that they will be able to run full blast without getting the support, the liquidity for the power producer themselves? There will be challenges. Come to transmission. We knew that we need to make our transmission lines more robust, more resilient to shocks. For example, the current one that we had around Pokwasi issue, it couldn't stand that shock because the system's integrity is being questioned. And they need money to do all this maintenance, change transformers, capacitors here and there, transmission lines and all that. They have cash challenges. ECG, as of last year, August, owed Greco more than 850 million Ghana cedis, aside the dollar denomination debt as well. And so in August, September, I just said that if we don't fix this financial problem, we'll go back to Dumso.
August last year?
August last year. Check IES once. It was published on my journal online. We warned that we'll go to. And in December, it became a reality. And so we have financial challenges. And if you're doing a system, you run a system where you cannot oil it by its own cash flow, what do you expect the machines to do? It's just like your own car.
Okay, so we have the machines. What we call install capacity.
We have install capacity. It's all right. We have enough install capacity.
In spite of these recent series of unfortunate events, all unrelated to each other.
Install capacity is different from available capacity.
Right.
What we're talking about is availability today. How available are we? Today, as we speak, the Western Corridor should be able to do about close to 900 megawatts. Americ 240, T1, T2 about 340, 340 each. So close to 850, 900. As at yesterday, they were just doing around 300. It was just this month that my figures are around 350, 370. And then it's okay for them from the Western Corridor. But then they will be able to do more if some of the challenges were not there. Because they change over from the natural gas side to the liquid fuel, they have some challenge like I've established. And so available capacity is different from install capacity.
Yes, and my question was, for our drop in available capacity, how much of it is due to money and how much of it is due to these unfortunate events, maintenance, cutting of a pylon, roadworks? Which of the two, money and events, which of the two is a bigger contributor to our drop in available capacity?
Today we have just a little over 40 million scarf coming from Nigeria. Ghana owes Nigeria. Is it because we have not paid them? That's why they are giving this peanuts.
How much do we owe Nigeria?
I am unable to speak to it. And today we have to move this 40 million scarf straight to the Western Corridor to support Ameri, run some few units. And today they are doing about 5 units out of the 10. Because it's not much of a gas. Asogli is forced to run on liquid fuel today and the past few days because they cannot get this gas. So some financial challenge exists there, or may exist there. So we can say that. Then, of course, for the other side, I could say it's technical because we have to shut down Atuabo so that we'll be able to connect the West Africa gas pipeline to that of the Ghana pipeline. And so it's you know, a combination of factors that we find today, technical and financial.
So let me ask you this. If we solve the technical problems, because they must be solvable, so if we solve the technical problems, will we go back to regular supply?
When we solve this technical problem, one thing that I will be happy with is that we'll be able to move more gas from the Western Corridor, even to the Abuad, then to Tema. And so we'll get more cheap fuel. Okay. But then, being able to have enough money and solving some of the technical challenges, making your transmission system more stronger and robust, solving the distribution challenges that we have, you call them local faults. ECG have a problem with their own transformers and others as well. They all need money to be able to do this maintenance and upgrade so that they can have less of the technical losses, which is huge on their books. Almost a quarter of the power that we give to ECG is lost to both technical and commercial losses. And so we'll still need money to fix this situation, because thank God today we have the water level in Akosombo or the water lake has been good. And trust me, Roland, for the past 5 months, it's the Akosombo lake that has supported us.
Nkrumah's Akosombo.
It's the Nkrumah's old Akosombo. Okay. That's the old thing that we're still relying on.
But at the end of the day, you and I, Kojo, Mamavi, everybody were consumers. What sort of communication, based on your own observations and experts, should be coming, one, from government through the ministry, from the service provider, PDS, and then onwardly assurances from the transmitters and the producers to consumers?
I think it's only fair and proper that when people have even paid in advance to consume power, you don't keep them in the dark. Not as in don't switch off their lights. Even if the lights will go off for whatever reason, please be fair to them. Let them understand beforehand that, look, we are going to shut down Ghana gas, and so we'll not have much gas available. It might impact on power that we produce, but it's going for a short time because we've been 14 days, we'll finish this operation and we'll come back to our usual point. The next thing is we have challenge as a government. We are cash flow challenge. We're trying to work on it and give us timeline, all this. I'm sure this one will suit our pain, and we know that, look, we prepared our mind towards this situation, but nobody just gave us information on
How
this.
long is this going to continue based on your estimation? In August, you did a publication, September, December, you gave the warning. How long is this going to continue hence?
So long as the problem linger.
Don't we need an outline, a timetable, a schedule?
I'm not sure government will be able to give us a schedule. I'm not sure they themselves know how they're going to solve this liquidity challenge, aside the technical issue. And so they are unable to speak. But at least use the technical reason that we have from this weekend and tell Ghanaians that we are going to have some few shocks this weekend due to the tie-in. It will be fair. But when it comes to the financial problems, I don't know. In fact, I don't know how they intend to solve it.
Okay, so we're at 222, 220 averagely, usually.
Megawatts.
It's not enough.
It's
so
not
we'll
enough.
need extra around 350, 370 because we need extra 15%. Don't we need a schedule so that we stay within 222, 220? We need a schedule so that everybody knows that maybe this side of the capital will be going or this side of Tamale will be going. So that we're at peace.
We need it. I think we need this information. It's important. But you know, our politicians will always try and find another reason to justify the situation. The tower that we had a problem with from Greco, it didn't affect power distribution much, and it's not affecting it anyway. You see, there are redundancies.
That's interesting.
In the transmission system. The towers, you don't have all the towers moving power at the same time. You need to have redundancy. And so if one goes down, maybe that was, at that moment, that was the tower that was carrying power. Within some few hours, we need to change over to the other. And they've done it. They're only seeking to make sure that they bring it back because they need redundancy for their transmission.
So in the
and
grand
this morning,
scheme of things,
my check tells me that it's not affecting power flow from the west.
Which one? The saboteurs?
It's not affecting our power.
that's interesting. The nation records didn't wreck the nation in the end. All right, now quickly, just before we wrap up, I just need to get your reaction to what Kojo Poku said about this arrangement between the Finance Ministry and PDS, where he's indicating that he's cited documents that suggest that the Finance Ministry is agreeing with PDS for them to hold on to some large amount of money that they should be paying to Gridco and ECG. And they are holding on to it because they want to have some control over the tariff.
I am unable to speak to this authoritatively because I have not cited the document. But I wouldn't say Kojo will churn out information like this without any substance. And so I won't question that. But we at IES have had a problem with the way ECG was handed over to PDS. You see, as part of the agreement, before handover, there were conditions precedent, close to 44. PDS was able to meet less than 30 of this condition precedent. And one key component in all this is a bank guarantee, a performance bond, to say that I have a performance bond here. It assures us that you'll be able to do what you say you will do when we give you the new company to run. And it's a requirement. And MIDA knows this. And it should have come from an AA plus bank, rated by Moody's and the rest. They didn't provide this bond. They rather, in the last minute, wrote to MIDA that, look, they are putting together a special purpose vehicle, putting together some insurance company to back them. I mean, they gave them some conditions to meet before they can discuss. Even 4 days, they've handed it over to them.
And they still
and they
haven't
made
met
the
those
condition
conditions.
subsequent. Now you've given to them, now they have to go and meet it. So we know that PDS doesn't have the money they claim they have to run. And so today we're hearing that some money, they've been asked to keep some money for them to, where is the money they said they were bringing? Is it sitting in the accounts? Then why will you hold on to another source of money? I think that we need to interrogate the issues more, and I'm sure the coming days will be very interesting.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pakwesi Anamwa Sakyi is the Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security, raising some very important issues for discussion there. We appreciate it.